Hi everybody, it's April 3rd, 2026. One thing I've learned is that your connection to your body is important, but we are not necessarily contained within our body. If we use our body as a vessel, that means taking care of it, that means protecting it, that means giving it maintenance, that means providing pleasure for it, and providing strengthening for it, and all that. The connection to your body is sacred. But the thing about our body is that it's of this world, and our spirits may be on a supernatural plane. So our connection to our bodies is our connection to human emotions, our connections to natural occurrences. And I've learned that anxiety in the body doesn't necessarily need to affect your spiritual consciousness. And I know that anxiety gives you cues about unprocessed emotions, unprocessed trauma. But the body is primitive compared to our spirit. So I found that you can have anxiety in your body, but your consciousness could be peaceful. Your consciousness could be aware and steady and strong and stalwart. So I'm not here to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist for anybody, but the anxiety in your body doesn't necessarily determine how you should react. It doesn't necessarily determine whether you are in emotional danger or not. Your anxiety from your body could be overcome by reliance upon your faith. And I know many people may talk about that, but your faith with God and your faith with your path supersedes most of your body's anxiety. So this gets me to thinking about unshrouding. The first steps to peace, or a more peaceful existence, is of course following God. But after that, you have to unshroud your inner fears. You have to unshroud your vulnerability. You have to unshroud your shame. And this takes a few times or several times to accomplish. Because if you unshroud your shame, it's going to quickly cover itself back up and blame you and give you reason to fear looking at it. So you have to keep on unshrouding your shame and your vulnerability until you can look at it long enough until it makes sense. And then when it makes sense, it doesn't make sense to hold on to it anymore. Unshrouding is the first step into dealing with things that have been reoccurring in your life, that have been sabotaging your life. There's always going to be challenges, no matter how well adapted or how well you take care of yourself. But the things that you keep hidden and that you don't look at inside of you are going to be persistent at slowing you down and weighing you down. And once you get rid of all your shortcomings attached to these things that are hidden from you that you don't want to look at, you could get on with the real work. And the second thing I could say about unshrouding is you have to unshroud the elephant in the room when it comes to the situations. And that may seem contradictory, because the elephant in the room is, that whole saying is, it means that it's obvious, but you're just not speaking of it. But sometimes you have put something over that elephant in the room and try to ignore it, and you have tricked yourself to noticing it's there, but at the same time lying and saying it's not there. So when you unshroud the elephant in the room, you know what you have to do. That's the beauty of it. Once you unshroud the elephant in the room and you look at it, you know exactly what you have to do. You have to deal with that problem. You have to deal with that insidious occurrence, or that insidious structure within you. And so when you unshroud the elephant in the room and you realize it and you acknowledge it, that's the direct path to ascension. And we ascend every day. We ascend by accomplishing tasks, by doing what we're supposed to do. So once you have a direct path and you know where you're going, the only work is going through it. And honestly, we're going to have to go through our problems eventually anyway. So if you know where you have to go, that's a very fortunate fortunate occurrence. And the last thing I could say about unshrouding is there's always a point of no return, or the longest point in the bay, that you have to walk out into the water on the bay or the dock or whatever you call it, or the pier. That furthest point out, that furthest thing from where you are, that goes out to the depths, once you unshroud that point and go walk that walk, that is also a point of ascension. That is a point of your life where things change, where you level up, where you gain a wisdom that transcends your previous life. And it is scary, but we know that it is scarier staying in the same place and being controlled by our shortcomings and being controlled by our weaknesses. It's not to be ashamed of having weaknesses and being vulnerable, but God has put us on this earth to overcome, to witness His strength that He gives us. And once you walk out to that furthest point in the pier and face what is there standing there for you, waiting for you to confront it, that's where the magic of God is apparent, and that's where your faith is entrenched in you. So I hope this helps. Thanks.